What up, y'all? Welcome to the stream. It's always a delay here. Let me see. Are we good? Okay, we're good. Hey, welcome to the stream.
What up, y'all?
Thanks for locking in. So here's going to be the SEO news. It's faster than I can make the video, so I'm still trying to land on a good night for the stream. Thursday is probably not as good for me, so let's try Friday.
Okay.
So make sure you lock in so you get the news and analysis.
Hey, welcome to the stream.
You'll receive nowhere else.
Thanks for locking in.
So here's going to be the SEO news live, and faster than I can make the video. So still a good one coming out next week. So lock in for that. Thursday is probably not as good for me, so let's try Friday. So we're going to start off talking about the latest update you'll receive nowhere else.
Thanks for locking in.
And this is releasing right now. So there's two main components of this update. The August 2024 update.
Thursday is probably not
as good. Here I'm going to quote here. Friday. So we're going to start off talking about the latest overall work to improve the quality of search results by showing more content that people find right now useful, less content that feels like it was made just to perform well on search. So the main part here is
Friday. So we're going to start off
content that feels like it was made just to perform well on search. And this can refer to a lot of things, but there's a lot of people who don't really know SEO that well, but think they know how to optimize for it. So things like keyword stuffing, that's probably the biggest one. I still see it a lot. It's really surprising to me, and I've also covered this in a previous video about Google Leak, how it looks for keyword stuffing, and we even seen these updates years ago where it would punish pages for stuffing keywords. And it's crazy to me that people still do this, but if you're stuffing keywords, stop doing that. This update's gonna hurt, so if your site is starting to fall off, you probably want to take a look at keyword stuffing first. That's one of the main things that I see. Some other things to look out for are lots of FAQs. Some pages just have so many FAQs, and you really don't need that many. I would say pick the most important ones, maybe 3 to 5 max. If you have over 5 on a page, you're probably doing too much. Also, look out for unnecessarily long pages. Some people think just because they write a really long page that it's gonna rank well in search, and you just have to look at the competitors and how much information they're including. If most of the pages that are ranking on the first page are, say, 1,000, 1,500 words, and then you write an article that's 5,000 words, you can't necessarily expect to rank on that. And lots of people still do that, especially these people that are writers and they claim to be SEO writers. I would just be on the lookout for people who claim to be SEO writers, because usually they do these things that I just mentioned, and it really just hurts your rankings for those pages. So if you're looking for a writer, you don't need an SEO writer. You just need someone who's good at research and can write. Usually these people can research the pages on the top 10 and put together an outline based on that, do the research, and write a good article. So that's really all you need. Or if you're looking for AI, which is what we do here, we do the AI SEO here, you can get a good AI writer with research capabilities. And typically the AI writers don't stuff keywords or do any of those other things that likely is going to be hurt from this update. And I would say preferably you want an undetectable AI writer because of the golden flag, which I covered previously, where Google will flag your content if it's detected as AI, and it'll go back and take another look at it and scrutinize it a little more. So, if possible, you do want to get an undetectable AI writer. You can check my channel. I have a video of some undetectable AI writers, and I'm probably going to have another video talking about some other ways to avoid detection. And depending on your niche, you could even just use an AI writer and then rewrite that content with an AI human writer. So this AI just takes your AI text and then it rewrites it to sound human. So you won't catch that golden flag. The second part of the update takes into account the feedback we've heard from some creators and others over the past few months. We aim to connect with a range of high quality sites, including small or independent sites that are creating useful original content on relevant searches. This is an area we'll continue to address in future updates. So I thought this was kind of surprising, but people have been complaining a lot. Even people that want to start these small sites usually are dejected from starting them because you just have to have some authority to even rank well nowadays. So their focus on small or independent sites was pretty surprising to me. But again, I know a lot of people have seen decreases in traffic, so they've been complaining. So this is their attempt to basically highlight those small or independent quote-unquote sites. I would like to know what they call small and who exactly they're talking about. It seems like the independent sites could be something like small news sites or even those small sites with third-party contributors. So I'm kind of interested to see how far this goes and if they're going to continue with these kind of updates. I could also say that this might be a PR move for them since they just lost that lawsuit, the monopoly lawsuit that was brought by the Department of Justice. So maybe they're trying to also improve their public perception and just get more people on their side in the court of public opinion, since they lost in the court of law. And like I covered last week, they're gonna appeal this, but this could win them more favor with the public, especially people with smaller sites, which there are a lot of. So just keep an eye on your rankings for the next few weeks. I would say even the next couple of months, because a lot has been happening as far as they had ranking errors for the last week and a half where they're having some issues with the ranks and things aren't ranking where they should be, or sites aren't ranking where they should be. So just make sure you stay on top of that, your analytics, and with the ranking errors and the updates, I expect there to be a lot of SERP volatility for the next couple of weeks. So that's all we have for the update. Let's go ahead and get into AI overviews and what's going on there with those. Ranking errors and the updates. I expect there to be a lot of SERP volatility for the next couple of weeks. I'm still getting the hang of this right here. I think I got it. There we go. No? There we go. And what's going on there. I'm an SEO expert becoming a streamer. Alright, so we're good. I think we're good now. Let's see. Alright, there we go. So Google AI overviews have been going down for a while now, if you've been keeping track. I know a lot of people talk about these like they're here to stay and you need to optimize for it, but they have been dropping pretty significantly over the past 3 months, I would say, as long as as I've seen. So I'm just going to point out a couple of things here just so you have the data. AI overviews only show for 15% of queries, and at one at one point in time it showed 84% of the time. So 84% of searches had an AI overview, and that was during the opt-in experiment. So that's right here. It appeared for 84% of the queries. And one of the big issues here was numerous examples of incorrect and dangerous AI generated answers, such as suggesting people to drink urine or eat rocks. So that is a big issue for Google, and that wrong information really hurts their credibility and the reliability of the SERPs. So for people to come to Google, they expect to get the correct answers, and if you go to Google too many times and get the wrong answers, or even just terrible answers like this, then you're not going to use it as much, which is bad for Google, of course. The featured snippets pull straight from sites, so their information is often correct because those sites were already ranking well because of the algorithm. They had backlinks, the content was good, they had everything good as far as helpful content in that regard. And then Google would just pull straight from that site. But with the AI overview, it's taking in a lot of information and then trying to give it back to you as an answer, and it experiences hallucinations, just like any AI can experience that. So I would expect these to drop even more, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit more. But here you can see a good graph here about how it was before, how many times AI overviews were showing, and then you can see how it's shrank now, and it's much less than it was before. And I'm going to point this out right here. AI overviews are 195% more likely to appear when the queries have a featured snippet. Question-based queries are also more likely to feature AI overviews. So it looks like they're starting to serve the AI overviews more like featured snippets. And I predicted this a long time ago, I would say months ago. That's why I'm getting on these streams now, so you can know when I know. Because the AI overviews just aren't as good as the featured snippets. The featured snippets are correct much more often because, again, they just rely on those same ranking factors. And the fact that those sites have backlinks from authoritative sites and high domain authority, it's just much more likely that their answers, their information is going to be correct. Much more often because, again, they just rely on those same ranking factors. And the AI overviews are less likely to show when site links are present and on local queries. So there's not much of a reason to serve AI overviews for local searches because of the local pack, and Google doesn't really have anything to present in that regard because they more so want you to contact the business or put in directions to go to the business. They have a very good relationship when it comes to local search. So here is a graph of the AI overviews across industries, and as you can see here, when there's featured snippets, it's much more likely to show an AI overview. And then sites with site links, the local pack, not very likely to show, which makes sense. For images, it'll show some. For videos, people also ask, it barely shows, so that's not really even substantial. And then for questions, it shows a lot as well. And I would be curious to know if they factor this in along with the featured snippets, because you could ask a question and get a featured snippet as well. So I thought this was kind of strange if these are incorporated together, or if these are featured snippets that just are not about questions.
And I would be curious to know.
And then we're going to take a look at the AI overviews across the industries really quick. So they appear most often in healthcare, 63%, down from 76% in January. They appear less than 1% of the time for restaurants, down from 36% in January, and travel is down 30% in January. So here's a little graph here of all of the industries that show AI overviews, and the healthcare one is the largest one by far. So I would expect this to continue falling, just because there's just too much at risk here for Google to present incorrect information. So I would say that these are going to change at some point, and you're going to see much less of this. It's going to be down here on the level with these other industries. And this, they're also trying to predict and answer follow-up questions. So this is something that Perplexity does pretty well. So the way that you see Perplexity changing and updating, expect to see something pretty similar for Google. Now here's a little update for that. So it was 15%, and this was in June. So last month, overviews only show for 7% of new queries. So again, it's continuing to drop, and I would just expect it to drop even more, and I'll show you here in a little bit and explain why. But overviews now appear less than 7% of the time. This trend of less visibility started in mid-April and is continued. As I just showed you, it only showed for 15% of queries the last couple of months. And again, they cite the incorrect and dangerous AI generated answers. So I think this is going to drop even more, because these AI generated answers not being correct is just hurts their credibility, hurts their business, and that's not good for their business model. They need people to come and search and feel that the information they're getting is reliable. AI generated answers not being correct. So we're going to look at some other industries that have been dropping, and here is a graph of the overall AI overviews in June. So they started dropping pretty hard in June, and it looks like they continue to drop. So the biggest industries that seen drops were education, entertainment, and e-commerce. So there's much less AI overviews showing for these than what were before. For education, AI overviews dropped from 26% to 13%. This is kind of surprising. Not education. Education is not surprising, because this industry is somewhat adjacent to your money, your life. So any industries that are included in that or very close to that will likely see drops in AI overviews, because you just need reliable information when it comes to those searches. The one I was surprised about was entertainment, fell from 14% to nearly 0. So this is not your money, your life, but maybe they're going back to the traditional search features they had previously, like when you search for a movie and it shows you all the actors, or you search for an actor and you can see all the movies, and they have a little SERP feature for that. So maybe they're going back to that, would be my guess. For e-commerce, AI dropped from 26% to 9%.
And it shows you all the
This was likely hurting their ad revenue because AI overviews take up so much space, and this also gives less opportunities for people to buy ads. So this would essentially be Google leaving billions of dollars on the table, which of course they don't want to do. And I wanted to show you real quick how this impact looked. This is something I wanted to cover previously, but if you look at this here, let's see if I could zoom in. You look here, and this is what the SERPs used to look like, and this is what it looks like with the AI overviews. So this paid section is essentially gone if there's an AI overview. So where do you put the ads if you're looking over here on this right side? If you put all the ads at the top and push everything down, people are likely to just scroll past that to the AI overview if that's what they really want to see. If they put the paid ads under it, people could scroll past it. It might work, but it just has changed the SERP so much that it's not great for them as far as ad revenue to just keep using these AI overviews. And then that brings me to my next point here.
People could scroll past it. It might work.
The AI overviews take up less pixel space on top of Google search results. They are now 13% smaller on average. So right here you see how big it is. So it's shrank a little bit. It doesn't really seem like much when you're just looking at it right here, but that's really important when it comes to the SERPs. If you're on mobile, if they want to put ads in there, all of this is going to be important. So I would expect this even to continue shrinking as it already has. It's 13% smaller right now. I would expect it to shrink even more.
The SERPs, if you're on mobile, if they want to put ads in there.
Google is also less frequently citing the same sources and AI overviews that appear in classic search. So this ties into what I'm going to stream about next week, but basically the AI overviews are pretty much starting to turn into more fancy featured snippets. That would be a good way to look at it, and I'm going to be talking about that next week. I have a little more to talk about there, and I want to break that down for you a little more. But I will say in the meantime, just think about the AI overviews almost like featured snippets, because that's what they're slowly becoming. And here's the graph just showing the overlaps with the AI overviews and regular search results. And some of the search intent does play a role. So here's a few things. Keywords with best had more than 50%. What is, how to, symptoms of, more common to trigger AI overviews. I am kind of surprised about the symptoms of, so I would expect that to drop even more. And then the decreases in AI overviews were for versus keywords, general products, and lifestyle related queries. So again, I would expect those to continue dropping, especially the symptoms of, I think, is going to drop a lot more, and the lifestyle related, possibly even the how-to, just because personally I've had some how-to searches that triggered the AI, and the AI was just wrong. I ended up having to actually go to a website, or I even used Perplexity a couple times just to get the right information. And then here, the last thing I want to mention is that the Reddit and Quora lost a lot of AI overviews, minus 85% and 99% respectively. And it looks like they just realized that these sites are unreliable sources of information, and it seems like that would be obvious because the people that are on the forums can be incorrect, and there's nothing to gauge whether they're credible or not. They can just put something on Reddit and it be featured in an AI overview, but they could be completely wrong. A person could have no expertise about what they're talking about, which often happens on these forums. So Reddit and Quora have been dropping a lot from the SERPs overall. They were in the SERPs a lot for the last or earlier this year after one of the updates, but they've been dropping a lot lately. And so I'm just going to run through these real quick just so you know the other drops, but I'm not going to really get into them. So there's less comparison tables. The product of comparison tables has dropped. Product viewers and carousels have dropped, and there's less lists. So ordered and unordered lists have dropped as well, and Google increased the number of financial warnings by 10%, and they had a similar warning for healthcare queries. And this is really just so they can cover themselves, just in case they have wrong information. Again, that'll hurt their credibility, so they're basically just trying to say, here's an answer to your question that was generated by AI, but it could be wrong, so don't hold us accountable if it is wrong. And I would say this is going to drop even more because with the volume of searches Google gets, even a fraction of a percentage of the information being wrong, that could be 100,000, even 1 million people getting incorrect information. And if that happens too many times for too long, then that's just completely gonna collapse their business. Even a fraction of a percentage. Now I have one more thing to show you here. I just wanted to show a couple other niche specific trends that have shown AI overviews. So if you're in these niches, you're definitely going to see AI overviews more. So the big ones are the relationship niche, with 40% of its keywords triggering AI overviews. Seems like this would be closer to the your money, your life, but maybe it's not quite close enough. But it just seems like that really would fit in there. So I kind of would expect this to drop, but it also depends on exactly what they're calling the relationship niche. I mean, there's lots of different aspects of that, you know, dating advice, marriage advice. Would it pull in maybe therapy? You know, these are all questions I would have and just would need to expand on what exactly they mean by the relationship niche. But 40% of its keywords is a lot. I used to have a affiliate site. Well, it wasn't an affiliate site, it was just a site I had made, and it 40% of those keywords falling off basically would have killed the site. So I'm just very interested to see what they mean by that. Food and beverage, 23% of its keywords trigger AI overviews, and this kind of makes sense. I don't think it really fits into your money, your life as much. If it's just talking about products, seems like that would be a pretty easy thing for it to get right. And even if it does have hallucinations, it likely wouldn't be too bad, unless it was some kind of product maybe that was recalled or something, and then they recommended it. That would be an issue. If it's just talking about products, notably fashion and beauty, pets, e-commerce, and retail saw significant declines, which I just covered because they want that ad revenue. When you're looking at these niches here, I mean, e-commerce really is these, but fashion and beauty, pets, and really any kind of e-commerce, they're gonna want to run ads. So Google wants to let them run ads. That's just money that they're leaving on the table otherwise. So I would say just keep an eye out for your niche, and really just keep up with what's going on as far as AI overviews. Watch your traffic just to see if it's dropping or anything, and check out a couple of your keywords for the search intent for those keywords that we covered here, especially the ones if they have best in it, what is, how to, any of these keywords. Look at those for your site to see if you see them dropping or not. And then if you do, I would say also try to create more content for versus general products, lifestyle related, if it applies to your niche, so you can get more of that traffic, since AI overviews will be triggered less often. But if you're in any of these niches, then you're just going to see a lot of AI overviews, and you're going to have to battle with that. So I would say stay locked in so you know if your niche is being hit by AI overviews. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this, and I'm always going to be bringing you the updates so you know whether or not you should be concerned. Next week, we're talking about the rise of GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, and I'm going to explain to you how that's all a scam. I know I've seen it going around a lot for the last couple of months, and I would say it's even increased in the past month. So I'm going to break that down for you, and I'm going to show you why you shouldn't fall for the shiny object syndrome. People always try to do too much and often overcomplicate SEO, but if you just stick to the best practices and use them strategically, you don't have to do all this extra stuff people try to make up. And it's just, I'm going to give you the complete analysis on generative engine optimization. I'll break that down with the insights and analysis you'll receive nowhere else.